Yep, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face. And when that comes to saltwater fly fishing, that's when you're standing on the front deck of the guide boat and all your buddies are watching you. The albies are about 30 feet in front of you and there's a 10-knot wind blasting you in the face. Watch this video before you get on the boat. I'm going to go over what you need to do to prepare yourself for fishing in the salt or fishing at Cape Cod. So if you're going on a trip to Cape Cod soon, this is what you need to do to prepare yourself. And it isn't figure out where to go fishing or tie flies. It's practice your casting. And I'm not talking about learning how to cast. I'm not going to teach you how to cast in this video. I'm going to teach you how to practice your casting. So first of all, grab your cornhole bean bags. Take 3 of them out. Throw one at your feet. Take the other 2, throw them down there too for a second. Take and put a practice fly. This has no hook on it, on the end of your line. Use the rod and reel you're going to use for the trip, okay? And the first thing you want to do is strip all the line off the reel and get the head. See, now there's a this is running line back here. This is the head of your line up here. The head of your line is what you will cast. The running line is what you will shoot. So you want to pull off enough running line so it goes to the tip of your rod. And then you want to just get the line out and maybe 6 inches beyond. If you can see that, I'm not sure whether you can see it on the video, but my running line is about 6 inches beyond the tip. I'm going to make one cast, get it all the way out flat. I'm going to lay my rod down, walk all the way out to the end of where the fly is, place a beanie bag there so I can see it. I'm going to look back and I'm going to try to double that distance, just eyeballing it. You don't need to measure any of this stuff, just kind of eyeball it out. And that's about right. So that's about a 60 or a 70 foot cast. As I'm walking back, I have a 10-foot leader on here. I have 28 feet of shooting head before I get to my running line, and the rest is running line. Okay, so now you're all set up. You've got 2 bean bags out there, you've got a fly on, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to change camera position. So I'm going to put the camera on top of my head. So the first thing I want you to practice is with 6 inches of running line in front and then the rest of the shooting head out in front. Make sure you lock your running line in your index finger, and I want you to just look back, look at your loop, throw it forward, cast. And I want you to work at that until you can put it within 3 feet, and watch your fly line as you're going back. Now, if you need to start out by throwing your fly line back and letting it sit down, and then do it, great, because then you can do the follow through. So I don't know whether you can see all this on camera. We'll find out when I get home, but basically all I'm doing is I'm trying to. Now, I should tell you about my setup here a little bit. The wind is coming out of this direction, so it's blowing in my left ear, which is the way I would like it if you're fishing at the Cape. It's a sidearm wind. In this case, it's allowing me, sometimes I'm over adjusting a little bit to the left, but I'm trying to put that fly directly at that first beanie bag. Once you've done this enough and you've got your muscle memory down where you can feel when your fly line is all the way out in back of you so you can throw it forward. Don't have to work on your loop. You don't have to work on anything other than getting a nice wide open loop, keeping keeping the line aerialized, keeping it in the air, and trying to get it, well, trying to get it to fall as close to the beanie bag or bean bag as you can. Boom, right on top of it. Perfect. Anyway, once you're done with that exercise, start stripping off line again until you've stripped off about as much running line as you have regular line, and then now you can work on your double haul, and you should be able to get that that extra 60 or extra 30 feet out to the 60-foot mark. There you go. Coming pretty close. I can take a little bit more. So I obviously walked a little further than I thought I did with that second bean bag, because my running line is now actually touching my first bean bag, as you can see when I bring it back in. So that's actually probably between 60 to 70 feet. It's more than 60 feet. It's probably right around 70 feet. And there you go. It's probably more like 80 feet to the second bean bag now. But you can see that's all running line up to the first bean bag. And then I've reached my goal. I have the fly out towards the second bean bag. And you should work on your double haul. Let me explain to you one thing though. If you go out with a guide and you can't aerialize and throw that first 30 feet of line, which is your your weighted forward line, don't go out with the guide. And the reason is because you're not fishing. You're going for a boat ride, or you're going for a walk in the sand. Look, it's useless. You're not fishing unless you can just take the line, and I don't mean double haul, I mean just take the line and get a cast out 40 feet from you. If you can do that, you're now fishing. If you can't do that, you're not fishing. The double haul is definitely a tool that will take a little time for you to master. It'll give you twice the distance, okay? And once you're done mastering getting the shooting head out, then master getting the double haul out. The reason I'm not trying to teach you how to do that on this video is because I'm not a casting instructor. There's plenty of good casting instructors on YouTube that are more than capable of teaching you how to cast. Go look at those. This is to practice your casting. You should, whether you're a good caster or a bad caster, you should be doing this a lot. A couple times a week for a couple of weeks before you go on any trip. The next piece is, and it's probably one of the last pieces, is you should then practice bringing the line all the way in, because in reality when you're fishing out there, you're going to cast out and then you're going to strip your line back in, stripping your fly back in, and you're probably going to strip it to like where the line is maybe 3 or 4 feet in front of your top guide. That way you can figure out how many false casts, 2, 3, how many false casts it takes to get, you saw how the wind caught that, how many false casts it takes for you to get your entire line out there and you're back casting again. If you're a trout fisherman and this is your first time to the Salt, you really need to practice this. And the reason is this. Hopefully you're a golfer too, but I'm going to equate this to golf. In golf there's 2 games. There's a long game and there's a short game. In your short game, you're putting and chipping, and it's all about finesse and accuracy. In your long game, it's all about power, distance, and consistency. When you're in the Salt, you're playing the power, distance, and consistency game. When you're on a trout stream, you're playing the finesse and short game. You can be really good at playing the finesse and short game with a 4-weight rod on your local trout stream. Somebody puts an 8-weight rod in your hand and puts you on the ocean, you're going to fall apart really, really fast. It's a completely different kind of casting, and it is not a subtle kind of casting. It's power. It's power and consistency. And the one thing the guides are going to want from you is a powerful, consistent cast that gets you at least 40 feet. If you can get that extra distance here where you can get it out 60 feet, by the way, this is a completely unweighted fly because I've snipped the barb off of it, so there's literally no weight on the fly. If you're throwing a clouser, you don't have to worry about turning your leader over. It'll take care of that. It'll turn it right over. So let's go over it again one more time real quick. Come down, put a beanbag down at your feet, cast your line out until you have 6 inches of running line at the tip of your rod. Cast it straight out, walk out to that, place a beanie bag, walk out about the same distance again. You don't need to measure it. All you need to be is in the ballpark to give yourself 2 targets to shoot at. Start by throwing the fly back of you, throwing it in front of you, and trying to get consistency in landing that fly as close to that beanbag as you can. Then after that, aerialize. Make sure the fly stays in the air the whole time. Watch the fly going back. When it reaches the end of the back cast, start your forward cast. Do not worry about your loop at this point. It's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to make you the best caster in the world. We're just trying to make you a consistent caster that can get the fly out. Once you're done with that, figure out, well, work on your double haul. Work your double haul so you can cast once again. That is probably a 60 or 70 foot cast. I know Lefty Cray says if you're not casting 100 feet in the ocean, you're not casting. I don't believe that for a second. If you can get 40-50 feet out, especially for stripers, blues, and false albacore, you're at least in the ballpark. You can at least start fishing. If you can't do that, if you can't get the head out, you know, right where that running line is about 3 feet. By the way, running line will not cast. Let's do this. I'm going to put, that's about 6 feet of running line out in front now. Let's show you what happens when you put 6 feet of running line in front. Your cast starts falling apart pretty quickly. Yes, I was able to get that out, but there was I needed to use about twice as much power as I would normally do. Basically, you want that running line to be only 6 inches in front of your tip top on the rod. So let's go over it once again. Start out by just getting accurate at the 30 to 40 foot range. Consistency, making the fly land where you need to every time, and then work on your double haul, and then work on stripping it in. Okay, takes a little while to strip it in. Stripping it in, and with about 4 feet of shooting head out there, work on making as few false casts as you can to get a good cast. And it's as simple as that. You need to do that 2 or 3 times a week. You need to build up muscle memory. You don't want to be having to watch your back cast every time when you're on the salt. You want to be concentrating in front of you. You don't want to be looking back. Out here, always watch your back cast. Always look up and in back. Watch where it's going. And for those of you that aren't saltwater fishermen, your rod should not be going straight over your head. The 10 and 2 here, that's what you do for dry fly casting when you're doing trout fishing. It's great for accuracy. If you hook yourself in the ear with a size 18, that's straight overhead right there. Okay, it allows you to be very accurate. Okay, I can pretty much nail it every time if I go straight overhead. The problem is a size 18 hook comes out of your ear pretty easily. A 2-3/0 hook, you're going to the hospital. Okay, or at least you're going home with a new earring. So, and that's what happens right there. If you saw that ball up, that's what happens if you do not bring enough running line in and you leave too much running line out when you go to cast. So make sure you never cast anything more than the weighted forward line. Make sure you know where the transition is. It's that color change. And practice your short game. Get that down pat first, then move to your long game. The long game is ideal. Never, ever, when you're starting out, make a cast that is shorter than your running line. Do not practice that. That is a useless cast on salt. You need to make sure your entire running line is out there. I don't believe there's a guide on Cape Cod or the Florida Keys or any place else for that matter that won't tell you that the most important thing you can do before you get on your boat is to go out and practice your casting. And if you haven't done that, you're wasting your money, you're wasting your time, and you're wasting their time too. And they really don't want you on the boat if you can't cast far enough to catch a fish. They're not there, unless you've specifically hired them for it, they're not there to teach you how to cast. They're there to give you a good time and have you catch fish. So do yourself a favor. Take a couple of days a week, go out, grab some bean bags, and set yourself up and practice your casting. See you next time.